Good morning. First, thank you to CreativeMornings for inviting me to speak, and thank you for all joining me and us this early in the morning to talk about creativity. This week's theme is blossom. Not that blossom. That's right. When I first heard this month's theme, I thought, ooh, springtime, flowers, petals. And then I laughed because nothing about how I create looks like that. I'm a graphic designer by profession and a spray paint artist by obsession. When I think about blossoming, I don't picture petals. I picture galaxies. I picture the Big Bang. Explosions of light, chaos, color, dust. Everything's forming new worlds, and what is it that we could actually see if light pollution hadn't dimmed it out? So today I want to talk about what it means to blossom as a creative, not just when things are serene and clear, but when they're messy, uncertain, and seem cosmic in scale. All right, when we think about blossoming, we think about it like a light switch moment. One moment, everything is dark, and the next, a new explosion, a brand new star shining bright. But real creative growth, it's more like a nebula, layer upon layer of gas and dust collapsing and colliding, reforming. Some parts fade, some explode into something new. When I started as a graphic designer, I was obsessed with doing things the right way. Clean grids, perfect kerning, feedback loops, approvals. I loved it, and I still do. Graphic design has always appealed to my Virgo sensibilities, and I'm excellent at problem solving. But I realized I was craving something a little less rigid, something where mistakes didn't get revised, something analog, something messy. Enter spray paint. During COVID lockdown, we watched a lot of documentaries. Anything to do with outer space, nature, travel. And I remember one about how fish and birds can see way better than we can. That stuck with me, and I started to imagine what else we might be missing. I also watched a lot of YouTube tutorials and gathered enough visual evidence to have the confidence, and I picked up a can of spray paint. Suddenly, it was like supernova energy, loud, messy, unforgiving, the opposite of my digital design life. I felt like I had discovered a new universe inside myself. That wasn't a blossoming moment. It was more like starlight breaking through the cracks of the night sky. Spray paint teaches you things pretty fast. The most important lesson I learned, you're not always in control. Wind carries your paint, nozzles clog, drips streak like comets across the surface. But here's the twist. The chaos is where the magic happens. Unlike design, spray paint allowed me the flexibility and freedom to go with the flow. I remember painting one day, and I had a plan. Bright bursts of color, a mysterious planet in the distance, and then the wind hit. The planet was ruined. My whole vision shifted. At first, I was frustrated. Then I stepped back, and I looked, and it was way better than what I had imagined. That moment taught me blossoming isn't about perfection. It's about openness. It's about trusting the unknown. It's letting the randomness bend the light in ways you didn't expect. I started to carry that openness into my design work. I let instinct override the grid sometimes. I allowed more spontaneity, more improvisation, and more starlight to creep in. The two practices began orbiting each other, feeding the energy back and forth. I think I was supposed to do that before. I think so. I think we're caught up now. Blossoming isn't just about expansion. Sometimes it's about resistance, gravity, pulling in two directions. In design circles, spray paint didn't seem professional enough, and in street art, my design background seemed too polished. That tension used to feel like a contradiction until I realized it wasn't two worlds fighting. It was a constellation, each star in a system pulling the orbit. The truth is, you don't have to pick one identity. You can bloom in multiple directions, like stars exploding into clusters. My strongest work came not from choosing a lane, but from fusion, from using my design eye to map compositions and then unleashing spray paint chaos to bring them alive. That collision, that cross-pollination of worlds is where I really found my voice. In November 2023, I had an art show at 3S Art Space. Woo! Yeah. I wanted to capture my ideas of what we might be missing in the night sky with our shitty human eyes. I layered my spray paint art with photos of local landmarks, including our house. I actually refinished all of those chairs during COVID as well. I got really into spray paint. I used reclaimed pieces of glass, canvas, and metal as my surface. I'm a Gen X. I still cut up those six-pack things. It runs deep. So I was looking for items that I just happen to have in the garage because I collect things on the side of the road. Don't worry about that. I layered a photo printed with an adhesive vinyl and finished it off each piece with an epoxy resin for a high gloss finish. Now, I'd love to say once you blossom, you stay bright forever. But even stars have dormant phases. Sometimes they collapse into themselves. Sometimes they disappear before appearing again. Creativity is no different. There are times when nothing happens, when the sky feels empty. There are times when you're just observing, not creating. But here's what I've learned. Silence isn't the end, it's a pause. A dark sky where unseen work is happening. Hydrogen fusing, galaxies forming, just out of sight. Sometimes you need time before the next burst of light. We live in a world that celebrates the polished picture, the finished piece, but we rarely see the in-between, the cosmic dust, the fragments, the failed collapses. So if you're in a place where nothing feels finished, if your work looks like chaos instead of a clean night sky, please know you're still blossoming. Spray paint taught me this. The time when I was creating can be very stressful. In the middle of it, I'm looking at the piece and it looks terrible. And I have to remember that it's just not finished yet. To me, art is just as much about the process as it is about the finished piece. Not all stars shine the same. Some take millions of years, some flare only once, some burn quietly unseen. And that doesn't make them any less extraordinary. In June, I was asked to show a piece of art in a luncheon celebrating LGBTQIA+ artists, and I was honored and excited. It had been a little while since I created anything, and I was inspired. I had scored a free mannequin off the Buy Nothing group, and I knew just what I was going to do. Instead of looking outward to see what I might be missing in the sky, I wanted to look inward. I've been doing a spiritual journey and decided to create a piece that represents my spirit being. I sent a video of the piece to these people, and they asked me to revise it. I was blown away. I have to endure changes from idiot clients who don't know what they're talking about every single day. When I'm designing and I'm on the clock, I make compromises. Sometimes I have to ask, do you want fries with that? But my art, that wasn't going to fly. I told them in that moment I would be pulling the piece, and it was then that I knew I was an artist. I was blossoming. Today, I have the opportunity to unveil my latest work right here at Creative Mornings, PKX. What do you think? Do you want to see it? All right, let's see if I can make this happen. Oh, boy. I don't want to mess up her hair. As I said, she represents my spirit being, who has been occupying this particular meat suit for about 52 years. My spirit is taller than I am. I was shocked because she doesn't even have articulated nipples and they wanted me to cover her up. I'm like, no. The chakras are represented with bursts of color, and the third eye is represented by those really cool sunglasses. I started with a used mannequin, spray painted and layered words and phrases people have said to me or I've said to myself. I included nicknames, places I've been, hurtful things, inspiring things. And just last night I was getting her ready, and I knew I wasn't finished yet. And I'm not finished yet, so it makes sense. There's so many layers to add, and I might just never be finished. Whether you create with pixels or paint or with words, however you express yourself, you're allowed to expand in your own way and at your own pace. Thank you.
Creative Mornings, keep it going for Monica Dorley, Fast Girl Productions.